way the wind blows, I don't want to... Oh, we're recording. Good morning and welcome to another rather embarrassing Sunday antisocial hour here in the Gribley's Folly Community Garden and Massage Parlor, where there is always an ongoing existential crisis. I am here this Sunday morning to answer your questions. Did I bring your questions down here? I don't know. I am smoking two old favorites, my old Savinelli 920KS and Peter Stokkebye Luxury Bullseye Flake. I think this batch came from Brian. I'm stocked up on this stuff. It's a great tobacco. If you're into Virginias at all, you should check it out. This one has a touch of Cavendish in the very middle. And it is it comes in a coin shape. It's a nice little variation to have in your cellar if you have the usual ribbon cut Englishes and arrows and stuff like that. So I have a bit of a sad announcement. My phone is probably making its final voyage right now. This is an Asus ZenFone AR that someone gave me. It was a very generous gift at Christmas, and it has lasted this long, even though I bought for it the toughest case that I could possibly find on the market. They don't make OtterBox cases for these phones. And it has survived several adventures, many adventures. I'm not using it as a phone. For that, I have my old Samsung, which is super tough, waterproof, all that, which is why I keep using the Samsung, because if I'm on the water, obviously I want the tougher phone to be the one that can make calls. So I've been using this as a video production suite and a camera, and it has been awesome. It's been really good. Much better piece of technology. I really enjoy it. And the other night, my kid knocked it off the bedside table, which is only like 2 feet off the ground, right? And now I have the purple screen of death, the purple ooze oozing across the screen. So I don't know how many more videos I'm going to be able to get. You know, it started with just a little purple shadow in the corner, and now it's like half the screen is purple. So don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to use this phone. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is everything in my life is beat all to hell right now. So I have a bit of a sad announcement. My main video production suite, my ZenFone Asus AR, it's biting the dust. I dropped it. You can't get OtterBoxes for these phones, right? Because they have a very small market share. I dropped it. I've dropped it in water. I've done all kinds of things to this phone. It's been pretty tough. Someone very generously gave it to me at Christmas, and it is miles better in terms of video production than my old Samsung. And it's been great. It's been great. And then the other night, my kid knocked it off the bedside table, so like a 2-foot drop to to the floor. And we have the purple ooze of death spreading over the screen. So expect a downturn in the quality of my videos coming up when I switch back to my Samsung. I'm hoping, at some point I'm probably due for an upgrade, right? I'll probably get the top of the line. I'm a believer in OtterBoxes, right? So whatever the nicest phone I can get that still fits in an OtterBox, that's what I will be getting. And I need waterproof stuff because of all the fishing. So anyway, my phone is it's on its last legs. I don't know if I'm on my last legs, but I'm on some really painful legs this morning. I made a grave miscalculation. Life is about taking risks. And I was standing on one rock in the river, and I wanted to stand on another rock in the river. And I, took a calculated risk. I think this was entirely reasonable. And I decided that the other rock was pissing me off and that I should body slam it. That was really all I was trying to do. It was a complete success from that standpoint. No, I was jumping from one rock to another, and I slipped. And now I'm in a lot of pain. Fortunately for the rock, I led with my testicles, right? But then I followed up with my elbow and my knee. So, I staggered away, and when I looked back, the rock was just laying there in the river. Like, it wasn't even breathing. That rock is done, y'all. Kicked its ass. But, man, I'm in a little bit of a fix this morning, and plus Brad led me to a spot way out in the woods, and we got in a good hike. Saw a giant copperhead snake, and what hurt most of all, the most pain I'm feeling right now is to my pride. I hooked the largest trout I have ever seen. It was, I ain't lying. I mean, of course I'm lying. Like, this is a fishing, show, but it was huge. It was freaking huge, and I hooked it on 5X tippet on a barbless hook with my Tenkara rod, and we're gonna get to that, by the way. And I fought that fish for 10 minutes, and like I fought it long enough for Brad to get like from way down the river up to the river, up to where I was to try to net it. And he was getting close, and then I was pulling the fish in. I couldn't go to the fish because I had already slipped on the rock and almost killed myself. I did not want to risk slipping and losing the fish, or breaking a hip or whatever. But I almost had it, and it like cut a corner and pulled the tippet against a rock and broke off. And I'm not gonna lie, I teared up a little bit. I'm feeling very humble today. We will have a video coming out this week on why I choose to fish in the Tenkara style, and I'm uploading that from my Zen phone before it dies. And we have some good questions and answers for you today. First, Derek Tant has received a few more questions via the Ask Ribs to Ask Derek Tant hashtag. So let's get to those. David, 35445, hashtag Ask Ribs to Ask Derek Tant. How long should one boil salad? Derek answers, salad should never be boiled. Microwave it. Jody Kalal, since I follow most of the pipe community, I want to ask Ribs to Ask Derek Tant why he does not also put his answers to our questions on his own YouTube channel. Is he lazy, too busy grooming the beard, or too busy being mayor? Derek says, I'm not lazy, but I do stay busy telling everyone to buy Quiet Nights in Chatham Manor. And while I am not completely sold on Chatham Manor, I do enjoy Quiet Nights. I can confirm Quiet Nights is a Tant-worthy tobacco. It is, Derek and I, when Amy Mack and I were, we started exchanging tobaccos back in the day, we discovered we have entirely divergent tastes. Derek and I, we're pretty similar in our tastes. And I can definitely confirm Quiet Nights is way better than Penzance. I've never had Penzance, but Quiet Nights is better. Sometimes I say things during the video and I'm like, that's going to make the best clickbait title ever. Okay. Gribs Answers. That's my Google Drive document here that I keep in a briefcase handcuffed to my wrists that has all your important questions. First, Devil's Advocate asks, has mankind been better or worse off for having developed the facility for language? Damn! Right out of the gate, you're asking the heavy-hitting questions. Okay. All right. Here's the level 50 shaman answer to this question, right? The capacity for language is really just the capacity for symbology, right? Like, we are able to conceptualize things into symbols. So before we had alphabets and stuff like that, we had, cave drawings of bulls and hot cave women. I don't know what the drawings were. Anyway, and so what language is basically a refinement of symbology. Now, I would submit that this is the primary difference between human beings and the animal kingdom. Because if you take a regular svelte fighting male like me and put me up against any other mammal that is of a comparable weight, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, right? It's gonna be like me in that rock. It's gonna leave me laying in the river. And I don't have an evolutionary advantage over, say, a bear or even a bobcat. I would be afraid of a bobcat if it really wanted to hurt me. So what has advanced our species is this capacity, because there's plenty of other smart animals out there, dolphins, elephants, but they don't work in symbols. They work in like very, very specific, very literal communications with grunts and groans and whatever that weird sound, keening. I don't know what dolphins, okay, you get the point that I'm trying to make. All that we have, right? Space missions, the stock market, all that, everything you see here behind me and my ability to talk to you on a dying Zenfone, all of that comes from our ability to conceptualize symbols and turn them into complicated languages and coding and all that stuff, right? So obviously, evolutionarily, it's a huge advantage. We're doing good. There's 7 billion of us on the planet. The system is working. At the same time, do you think we're happier than dolphins? I don't think we're happier than trout. You can tell who's happiest by who's laughing at who, and that fish was laughing its ass off. Do fish have asses? It has an anus. I know it hasn't, so it was laughing its anus off at me. Anyway, my theory on it is this. Symbology, it's just logic. Logic is definitely a helpful thing, right? But it doesn't make you happy. And in a lot of cases, it works against happiness. Because we can understand these abstract concepts and because we can turn them into symbols in our own head. I mean, that's kind of what you do when you worry about stuff, right? Like, I worry about, oh, I don't have anything put aside for retirement. That's a worry. But basically, that's just a big symbol. Like, I don't know what retirement is. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know how much money I should have. But it's this anxiety that I have that I've been told I should worry about, right? Save for retirement. And of course, I should worry about it. But when I actually worry about it, it's not like, oh, there's a bear across the river. It wants to come eat me. That's a very concrete thing. So I'm worried about something. Here we go. We're always coming back to this. I'm worried about something that doesn't really even exist. Maybe one day it will exist, a problem that will exist, but it doesn't really even exist right now. I might be a lot happier if I just went fishing and fell on a rock and died in the river and was eaten by a bear. I came home last night and my wife was like, I'm worried one day you're going to get really hurt on the river. And I was like, yeah. I mean, of course, one day I'm going to get really, like every situation you get into, the more situations you get into, right, the more the probability approaches a certainty that you will not get out of these situations without a serious calamity. Yesterday was a reckoning, man. It was scary. I had to lay there on that rock for a while to make sure it was dead. And while I was laying there, it was definitely one of those falls where you lay there for a minute to make sure nothing is broken. And many things went through my mind. Lack of health insurance. We were like 2 miles into the woods, downhill. So those are concrete things to worry about. Retirement, that's never going to happen. To answer the question, you need a hard yes or no. Yeah, I think we've been better off because the fact that we can talk about this stuff and then, we still have the capacity to get over the disadvantages of having language. So I think we're better off for language. But maybe you should ask the Babylonians. All right, Devil's Advocate. See, I got it right that time because of the language. Anyway, okay. So, do you use a priest when putting fish to death? No, I do not because I don't want to carry a priest. They are heavy, and they come with a lot of the fancy clothes, and they've got the incense stuff. They're always, it's going to spook the fish. Hanging the smells and bells. No, I'm not into that. I use a rock. Actually, I've gone back and forth on this. Because I feel like probably the way I would want to be killed if I were being held by a larger creature is just spike my brain with a knife, right? But I hear some people say it's much more humane to smash them with a rock. I don't know. And I can't consistently get a clean kill on fish. I don't kill a lot of fish, so I don't have a lot of practice at this. I probably should carry a priest. Norbo, every time I see you comment, I get Bohemian Rhapsody stuck in my head. Northern Bohemian. He likes to annotate his comments and talking about the aromatic recommendations from the last video. He says Scott Bendit's Butternut Burley and Trout Stream. Period. Everybody should already know that. I will take issue. I've never had Butternut Burley, but Trout Stream, it is really good. It's just not for me. I mean, you would think I would really like Trout Stream, but it didn't live up to the name for me. I'm sorry. 1740. Oh, that was when I was quoting Marcus Aurelius. He said, this is what puts you in the top 2% of the YTPC. The Central Committee has just inducted you into the YTPC intelligentsia. My first question is, why only the top 2%? I don't make the top one. And the second, well, it's not really a question. It's more of a point, is that, yeah, it was a Marcus Aurelius quote, but I was really just quoting Hannibal Lecter, quoting Marcus Aurelius. Anyway, okay, Pipe Smoking Board Gamer. Ask Gribbs, will you please make a video of you preparing a fish from catch to belly? Yes, I will. It might be a while because, well, today is Sunday and it's Mother's Day, so I'm not fishing today. And during the week, I can only, it's going to be a while. There's just scheduling issues because I would like to not go fishing when I'm super hungry, but I want to eat a fish when I'm super hungry, you know what I mean? So it's just hard to, yeah, okay. Bearded Pipe Smoker says, what's so special about Tenkara? And Bearded Pipe Smoker, that video is uploading right now and will come out this week. Florida Piper says, strawberry Pop-Tarts are greater than brown sugar. Sorry, sir, you're banned. Pipe Smoking Board Gamer says, you eat bananas on your pizza? Yes, I do. I think they're plantains, actually, on that Cuban pizza I was mentioning. It's pretty good. You wouldn't think it would be good, but it's good. Trump, automatic weapons, and abortions aside, your opinion on Papa John's pizza is the closest thing to make me stop watching your channel. Well, could you please try a real pizza from a real restaurant and explain why you would even bother with Poopy John's going forward? Okay. I know I'm going to offend people here, but pizza is junk food. Sorry. Yes, they make, you know, wholesome pizzas and all that. Yeah, those are crap. Pizza is pizza. It's made to be consumed in mass quantities, go to bed, get up in the morning, and eat the rest. And that is how you achieve morbid obesity. So the whole point of pizza for me is it's not a gourmet meal. And so therefore I think it's more useful to discuss pizza in the context of which shitty pizza is the best. And I still think it's Papa John's, mostly because it comes with a little pepper. But also it's good value. I don't like the big pizza, the lobby, the Pizza RA or the National Pizza, NP, whatever, the Pizza Huts and the Domino's, not so much. Little Caesars is a little too much. I mean, I get Little Caesars pizza a lot because it's cheap, but when I'm really living large, I want to go for Papa John's. I will say that I live in a foodie town and I've photographed food for newspapers, and I have had some of the best pizza that the world can offer, I believe, and without going to Italy and having like actual Italian pizza. And yeah, it's good, but it's just not, it doesn't have that food addiction satisfying quality, right? Just eat the pain away. It doesn't do that for me. 3, how long have you been stalking / trolling Mr. Tant? I mean, I think we've been connected on YouTube for a few years now, but that doesn't count, you know, since like 2000, right, Derek? Number 4, will you please submit a VR to my 500 sub goal? Yes, I will. And I really like your prompt, a whispering ASMR or something that scares you. Believe it or not, I think I'm going to go with the whispering ASMR. Actually, that kind of scares me. Okay, A30-6S. Ask Grib to ask Grib's wife, what are the 2 favorite and least favorite tobaccos by room note of the ruler of Gribletopia? So I'd have to, I'm unprepared for this video. We'll get to that one next week, I think. Typing Piper, who actually made a VR that I need to respond to. I'll go ahead and respond to that now. He said, have I ever read any Jim Harrison novellas? And I have not. And would I consider reading them? Yes, I will. The list, the stack is stacking. I'm still working on that same book that I've been working on for months now, which is called The Red Tent. And I plan, I sent a friend like, 20 books over the last several years, and she wanted to get revenge and she sent me 4 books. And she's like, I've read all the books you've ever sent me. Here's some books you need to read. And, quid pro quo. And, see, there's another. Marcus Aurelius quote, Norbo. And so anyway, what I'm doing is staggering out one of her books and then a fly fishing book. And unfortunately, the first fly fishing book, the slot has already been taken by not enough storage to complete this action. Slot's been taken by my fly fishing mentor, who's written another book, and so I'm gonna have to bump that one to the front of the line. But I will get to all of these books. Then I'm gonna read another one of hers. Then I'm reading Pavlov's Trout. I really want to read A River Runs Through It, and so Jim Harrison will fill in after that. Typing Pepper. Typing Pepper has, have you ever come across meth labs or porn stashes while out in the woods, or is this just a Michigan thing? That is definitely a North Carolina thing, too. Where's my tamper? God. There it is. Okay. That's definitely a North Carolina thing, too. However, the only porn stashes I have ever come across were the ones that I left there, and never met any meth heads in the woods that I know of. Who knows? You know, I don't meet a lot of people in the woods. But, funny, you know what is the most prescient documentary about this sort of thing is Steve Earle's Copperhead Road. Because around here you used to really worry about stills. You should worry about finding, you're roaming around the woods, you don't want to come across a still. Now it's meth labs. Jody Kalal asked Gribbs, where did you come up with your closing catchphrase? What a good question. So my closing catchphrase is, keep the ends out for the ties that bind. And that is almost a literal quote from Johnny Cash's I Walk the Line, right? Or just Walk the Line. I don't know what the title is. Anyway. But, of course, he borrows the phrase from an old Protestant hymn, blessed be the ties that bind. And so the idea is that in I Walk the Line, he's saying that he is always on the lookout for the ties. I don't know. That's where I come up with the catchphrase. Derek Tant, what is your favorite part of the acclaimed musical comedy film, The Blues Brothers? I mean, the whole thing, right? Like, there's no, I mean, it's really not... the Illinois Nazi scene, you can't beat it. You cannot beat. Nothing is, it couldn't be better. The closest humankind has ever come to achieving perfection is the Blues Brothers Illinois Nazi scene. I hate Illinois Nazis. Robert Dixon asks, has the TV been sold off or simply placed in a vault? As you notice, there is no TV right here. It has been donated to a worthy cause. Which is a better fate than most TVs see when they leave my possession. But yeah, I sent it to a friend. I packaged it up and mailed it off via USPS COD. Anyway, Briar Report says, who is Drudge? That's a good one. Kevin Schoen, here's one for you. Is Julian Assange a hero or a villain? And I had a joke that I was going to make about the TV that I can't remember now. Shit. This is why I don't do this professionally. No, it wasn't a joke because Robert Dixon said it was in a vault. So this is a weird story. I once talked to a missionary who had been to North Korea and said that the thing that struck him most was when he learned that there is like an underground bunker, because the North Koreans are really famous for their bunkers. I don't know if you know about this, but this is like, they dug in, right? The entire country is basically a system of bunkers and tunnels because they've had 60 years to do it. And there is a bunker dedicated to the gifts that are given to the supreme leader of North Korea. So, like if you're Dennis Rodman or whatever, and you take Kim Jong Un a box of chocolate, that box of chocolate will be ensconced in a bunker. That's not where the TV is. It just reminded me of that story. So finally, is Julian Assange a hero or a villain? That's a good question. I tend to lean toward villain, mostly because I don't really trust anyone to be a hero anymore. But in theory, I promote people that are into transparency and that sort of thing. And if I could trust him to really be about transparency, I'd be all over it. But I think he is a bit of a chaos agent. And I think my read on Julian Assange is that he's doing what he's doing, not entirely above board. I mean, obviously he's leaking national security information, so it's not above board. But like, I don't think his stated goals are his actual goals. Is my thing. So that puts him it at least knocks him off the hero pedestal for me. Is he a villain? Well, if he's not a hero, then he's a villain, right? If given the binary question. But I think what's a more interesting way to look at it is, we're now in a time where we're developing these characters in politics, and world government and that sort of thing, where the hero villain label no longer really applies. And what this reminds me of, Norbo, forgive the reference. This reminds me of Atlas Shrugged. The character named Ragnar Daneskjold. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ragnar Daneskjold. And through the entire book, you believe the guy is a pirate, like a literal pirate on the seas, stealing shit from merchant vessels. And then in the end, you find out, well, that yes, he is, but he's actually stealing stuff that he feels is owed to the people by the government, and I can't remember what he does with it, but he's basically like taking his tax money back. Is the Randian objectivism like spin on piracy? And the point is, we have characters that are clearly doing things that are against the law. Edward Snowden, but we've reached a point where I think a majority of people don't care about the law. They care about the moral implications back and forth, like the whistleblower idea. Yeah, when you leak a bunch of classified shit, that's a crime. So you should be a villain, right? But you're not anymore. And I'm actually personally kind of a fan of Edward Snowden. I think he's a much more honest character than Julian Assange, even though Edward Snowden probably is a Russian agent. I don't know. I think that the world is better off for Edward Snowden. Is it better off for Julian Assange? I don't know. But what interests me about these people is these high-profile characters. There's no more Robert Ains. There's no more Rosenbergs, that sort of thing. It's all a lot more shadowy, even as the characters become more flamboyant. Julian Assange is a flamboyant character, and with the rise of comic book, sort of the comic book villain versus superhero dichotomies in our society, it's really, really interesting to me. Villain. That's my answer. So that is it for today. It is Mother's Day. I must run and go do my husbandly, fatherly, sonly duties. I often call Mother's Day Guilty Sunday because I never feel like I'm doing the right thing. And the genuine emotion of wanting to honor the mothers in my life is very powerful and real for me, but it just never feels like there's a good way of doing it. It's like, oh, here's a Hallmark card. I bought you a piece of paper that you're going to throw away. Here you go. Here's some flowers. They're going to wilt. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the way that the Jehovah's Witnesses handle their whole regimented spirituality thing. But one thing I think that they're on to is they don't celebrate holidays. And I think it's fun to celebrate holidays. I'm not saying you should. But I have heard some of them articulate it thusly, is that every day should be Christmas. Every day should be Mother's Day. You should be continually grateful for these gifts that we have in our lives. And I think that's a pretty good idea. But it's you can't get it. You can't break the ties that bind. So I'm gonna go mow the lawn and polish the silverware or something like that, and call my mom. Thanks for watching. Keep those ends out.